Shalom, shalom, shalom. Hey, all praises to the Most High Yahweh, Bashim Shai. All right, brother Cash,
Yeah, brother Tazapar.
Khan, I mean, Lord willing, we'll praise the Most High back alive. All right, you can tell by the title, is Father's Day isn't pagan, right? Isn't pagan, right? But hey, before that, man, shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad by the ancient men, ancient women, right? Men in this truth, in this truth, right? That are, and the children in this truth that are enduring, fighting temptations, demons, and lust, right? Enduring and pushing with for the second coming of Yahweh Shai, man, right? All praise to the Most High, man, right? So, again, right? Again, another life, man. So, going into it, right, is Father's Day pagan, right? And you know, bro's kind of done their research, trying to gather, some information on this, man. But let's let the precepts talk, man. Right? We'll pray some more. Let's go to Second Timothy, right, chapter 2, verse number 15. Right, right. Second Timothy 2, start at number 15. Because if you don't study, man, right, this is such a underrated, right, precept, man. Right, Second Timothy 2 and verse number 15. It's a study to show that so approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So plainly put, man, we have to study, man. If you like, Revelation 1 and 9, right? It says, "Blessed is he that readeth." If you don't read, you ain't studying, you ain't going for prophecies, you ain't looking at history, archaeology, right? Linking it to what's going on today in the modern world, man. Because everything goes back to the scriptures, right? And the scriptures really just gives us the foundation for everything that is needed for the salvation of the children of Israel. We didn't. It's verse 16. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. So we have to shun profane and vain babblings, man. Right? And it's something for profane. It's almost like it's it's a stumbling block, man. Like you profane the Sabbath, it's like you defile it, man. Right? Reading on, it says in verse 17, and their words will eat as doeth a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, right? Because these two men, they err, in the next verse it says, they erred from the truth, man. And their words and things they teach, it will eat up your flesh, man. They will eat up and devour you, man. Right? It says, verse 18, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and over the faith of some. So we have to confirm the souls of the saints, man, right? In terms of teaching, right? Teaching the truth, teaching what's biblical, what's not, defending the doctrine, right? And that being said, hey, Lord, then we'll have more of those defending doctrine defenders, man, right? More more of those coming out, man. The more and more we see, the false teachings that are put out, hey, more and more will be coming out as well, man. Right? So it says, verse 19, it says, nevertheless, the foundation of Yahweh standeth sure, having the seal. The Lord knoweth them that are his, and let everyone that nameth the name of Yahweh shut slack it. Let everyone that nameth the name of Hamashiach depart from iniquity, right? And iniquity, right, we know is sin. We confess the name of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, right? You got to confess your sin, man, right? What does it mean to confess your sin? Right? I mean, there's been breakdowns on this, but this is Romans 10, and I'll start from verse 9. It says, Romans 10 and 9. It says, then, it's like Romans 10 and verse 9, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth, Lord Yahweh, and shall believe in thine heart that Yahweh have raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. Showing you two distinct persons, right? Most High raised Yahweh from the dead, thou shalt be saved. But the point being here is you confess with your mouth. What are you confessing, man? right? What do you confess? You just confess, I believe in Jesus, and that's it, man. A believing, right, is more than just believing, right? Go to the law, man, right? And then I'll pass it. It's the book of Leviticus. You got to confess your iniquity, right? This is Leviticus 5 and verse 5. It says, and it shall be when he shall be guilty in one of these things, your iniquity, right? That he shall confess that he has sinned in that thing. So when you confess the name of Yahweh Shem Shai, it means, hey, you actually have decency to confess that you've done something wrong, you committed iniquity, hey, and you don't just say, "Allah, I committed this sin." And how do you even know what sin it is? You're committing, right? You have to know the law. If you don't know the law, you're never gonna know what sin, what commandments you're breaking, right? What sin is, really, right? So we have to confess the name of Yahweh Shem Shai by what? Repenting, knowing what our sin is, man, knowing the law, or Shem Shai, man. But you got it, okay?
Yeah, can't, man. Like the brother's saying, you can't just uh confess that Yahweh Shai is your savior and that's it. Like you have to, there's a action towards it. Like you have to, do the things which is commanded of you, like it was in the old times, like it says there in Leviticus 5, you have to confess your sins and then turn from them. That's truly repenting. And I'm gonna go to Romans 15 and verse 4. So this is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So everything that was written down before is for our learning. Like it says, like the studying to show thyself approved. What are you studying? You're only studying what was written down before us. That's the only way we'll be able to understand what is right and wrong, what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do, how we carry ourselves, all these things are for our learning, and through patience and comfort, we might have hope. It doesn't mean we're saved. We have to continue in that battle. We have to fight that good fight, and I want to get was it John chapter 21 and verse 24. So John chapter 21 and verse 24, and it reads, this is the disciple which testifieth of these things and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true. So yeah, all the disciples, whatever was written down, we know that these testimonies are true, and the reason why we can see that is because we can just look at what's going on today. Everything is nothing more than what happened before, like it says in Ecclesiastes. There's no new thing. Everything is just like recycled. So the same people and same wicked people that were back then are here today, man, and they're pushing the same doctrine, the same idolatry, the same wickedness. And that's what we're going to go into. We're going to go into the fact that Father's Day is pagan. It's not in the Bible. Like it says in, what's it, Ecclesiastes. Let me get that quickly. So like a Sirach. I'll get Sirach quickly. Sirach chapter 33 and verse 7. Yeah, Sirach 33 and verse 7. It says, why doth one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? It says, by the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. So the Most High is the one that ordains these feast days, He's the one that comes, that lays it down, there's been day, like even down to the Sabbath day, every week we have a day of rest, and that's the seventh day. that is an exalted day. He's chosen that day for us. You know, he didn't choose Father's Day. There's no account in the whole scriptures where it talks about Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day. All these are things that were introduced by man later on. You know, so I'll read verse 8. It says, by the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. Some of them have he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them have he made ordinary days. You know, so, you know, if it's not thus saith the Most High, then it's just an ordinary day, you know, like, and we need to take that on board, you know, especially being in this truth and knowing the sound doctrine that we shouldn't be keeping up, like as they say in the world, keeping up with the Joneses and following fashion, you know. But you got it, King.
And literally, like the brother is saying, man, hey, there's certain, you know, and just to make a clarification, just because you know something, it says, oh, you know, like, I don't know, look, it's not in every instance that it, you know, because it's not thus saith the Lord, right? It's pagan. We have to just clear that out, because then people, okay, when you play PlayStation, hey, that's made by, I don't know, Bill Gates. Oh, that's wicked. That's evil. That's not what we're saying. You have to have understanding that, hey, these days, hey, they have a spirit behind them. You know, days, hey, like the brother read, hey, there's some days that are just normal days, some days that are hallowed days, right? Days, hey, these times of the, even in Esau's understanding, there's certain times of the year, man, that are, or you know, the solstice, right? The winter. I didn't even know there was a summer solstice. I just literally, you know, doing the research. It is a summer solstice, man, and you wouldn't guess when that day lands, right? But we'll dive into it, right? But this is Romans, Romans 14 verse 5. It says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be persuaded in his own mind, right? And yeah, some people, they need persuaded, man. Oh, why is it pagan? Well, let's go through the scripture, let's go through the history, let's put it all together, and then we're gonna understand, and that should persuade you, right? That should persuade. Oh, I don't need, you can't persuade me. Off. I love my daddy. I say, some people saying they love their daddy, man, right? And they, you know, and the last guy that was calling people daddy, hey, he's in jail, man, right? It says, verse 6, he that regardeth the day regardeth unto the Lord, and he that regardeth not the day to the Lord, he doeth not regard it. He that eateth to the Lord, for he giveth Yahweh thanks, and he that eateth not to the Lord, he eateth not and giveth Yahweh thanks. So obviously it's kind into, you know, foods, really, you know, and how certain men eat, and they didn't want to eat meat. You know, they were eating, you know, herbs instead of meat, because they believed it was sacrificing to idols. It has nothing to do with pork, right? So, point being, there's days that people regard and days that, you know, people don't regard. Nonetheless, we know the earth and the fullness of it is of the Lord. But Esau and these nations, they've intermingled a wickedness into the world to do what, man? To make us go off, right? So let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 13, because Esau, right, how he set up, he's made it that, hey, let's make these days so that these people can go off, man, right? They go into idolatry, worship some damn ancient earth, damn miracle, some trees or some sky father or something, you know. And the sky father, that's not, you know, we know Shahaba, you know, right? Where does it say how they called him the sky father? Right? Someone can show that. Hey, I'd happily stand corrected. And right? But this is the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and I'll start from verse number 24. It says, and another parable he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. And the field, and that's the world. And really, we, in our unnatural state, we be the beast of that field. We're supposed to be likened unto the man that's in that field. The what's the word, man? The apex predator, I think they call it. We're supposed to be that person. Toeing the ground, tilling, naming the animals, right? It says, verse 25, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. And how did they sow tares among the wheat? By their understanding that they put into the earth. Man. So we can't, these days, be what's the word? Be consumed by the tares that are attempting, or the tares that have are being almost forced into our minds, so that we go off. Right? We have to be diligent, sober, understanding, man, and seeing these things, man. This is Second Corinthians 11 from verse 3. It says, but I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety. And remember, the serpent, he is very intelligent. Esau is smart as hell. He knows, okay, yeah, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use some damn nanotechnology, smart dust, right? AI, you're dumping AI in your Zoom chats that you can't break down properly. It says, so your minds, see that's the point, because really knowledge is sowing into your mind. It says, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is Mashiach. So, if we don't really dive and study these things, we're gonna be beguiled, man. You're gonna be beguiled. You're gonna be a dunce. You're gonna be stupid. You're gonna be what's the word, man? Let me get a precept, right? You're gonna be naked, man, right? Let me get that in Exodus 32, right? You're gonna literally be. No, you're gonna be caught out there, man, with the trousers down, right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 32, and I'll start from verse. Let me see. Where is it, man? Exodus 32. I think it's further on. Right, let's see if I can find it. At the end, maybe. Right, Exodus 32. It told you that they were naked, man. Even in Genesis, same concept. You see that? Exodus 32 and 25. It says, and when Moses saw that the people were naked, does this mean, oh yeah, they were damn wearing God knows what, walking around, people damn doing, for Aaron had made them naked unto shame amongst their enemies. So that nakedness really goes back to sin. Just like when Adam and Eve were beguiled, that was sin, right? There's a shame that is lacking unto sin, right? And it's a shame, right? The way this thing goes down, man. Right? It's a shame that people are still in ignorance and believe that, okay, no, I love my daddy, right? But I want to study the precepts to find out if they're honoring and glorifying and idolizing their father, right? Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4 and verse 21, where there is a shame, for there is a shame that bringeth sin, and there is a shame which is glory and grace. So the nakedness that they had was not the damn nakedness that's grace and glory, right? It was sin, because they were in idolatry, right? But Khan, you got it again.
Yeah, Khan, man. So, yeah, let me get what's it? Matthew 10, and verse 35. Matthew 10 and verse 35. Yeah, so like that. So Matthew 10 and verse 35. Yeah, so it reads, "For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's foes shall be they of his own household." So in these days, all these Father's Days and everything now, there's going to be a day where, the son's going to rise up against the father, and the father's going to rise up against the son, and this is why, all these Father's Days and things like this, it's not, it's not profitable for us in this truth. And then reading on, it says 37 says, "He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." So, when we put our children or our fathers and our mothers on a pedestal, we're practically putting them above the Most High, because in the commandments it says about honoring thy father and thy mother, and then when you kind of look into, I'll just, if you can just let me share my screen, Baba Kashar.
So,
Shall I put also share system audio? I don't need to press that, do I?
no, I just need to share the screen.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So is this it? Yeah, this is it. All right. So when you look into it, so I put in, what is the importance of Father's Day? It says Father's Day is important because it honors fathers as paternal figures, recognizing their vital role in raising children and supporting families. So, we don't need a day that man has created to honor our father. We should be doing that daily. We should, everything that we do is according to the commandments. So you wouldn't need to have a specific day. So what do you do not on Father's Day? Do you not honor your father? Do you get it? So it's like,
Right.
it's also saying recognizing their vital role in raising children and supporting families. That's what we as a nation, we should be doing. That's the reason why we are in the state that we are, because we're not doing that. The curses have overcome us over generations and generations, to the point where now the woman has become the head of the house. They promote single parent households, and that's taken away the father figure, of the house, which is the vital role. Yeah, because without a father, man, it's a lot, it's very, yeah, it's a lot. So when you look down as well, it says like honoring role models. It highlights the importance of active fatherhood and celebrates the positive impact fathers have on their children's development, confidence, and well-being. So when we look into that, we should know that already. We when we study these scriptures, we know this already. The precepts are there. We don't need man to show us what we're supposed to do when it's already been written down before. So I'm going to quickly go to Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6, the classic, Proverbs 22 and verse 6, and it reads, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old he will not depart from it." So if you're training up your child in these commandments, that one of the commandments is honoring your father or mother, and by honoring him, you're not actually picking a certain day to do that. You would do that in your daily tasks, and I just want to get one more as well on the fact of honoring, you know, because there's a few different examples in it, but I'm gonna go to Tobit chapter 4 and verse 3. Are you showing the screen or shall I do it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, cool, calm. Yeah, so Tobit chapter 4 and verse 3. Yeah. So like Tobit chapter 4 and verse 3. So it reads, "And when he had called him, he said, My son, when I am dead, bury me, and despise not thy mother, but honor her all the days of thy life." So it says all the days of our life, not just on Mother's Day, you know, because there's not just Father's Day, there's Mother's Day as well, which I believe it was before the Father's Day, you know, when they set it all up. And then it says, "And do that which shall please her, and grieve her not. Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee when thou was in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. My son, be mindful of the Lord our God all thy days, and let not thy will be set to sin or to transgress his commandments, to do uprightly all thy life long, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness." So, you know, this is a clear example of a father telling his son how to honor his mother or his father, honor him and his mother. And that's by keeping the commandments. And, you know, obviously in that account, it's talking about burying him and burying the mother next to him. So that's another form of honoring. And I'll finish on 6. It says, "For if thou deal truly, thy doing shall prosperly succeed to thee and to all them that live justly." So the way to live justly is by, you know, keeping the faith in Yahweh Shai, you know, Yahweh Bashim Shai, and keeping them commandments, man, and to not follow the ways of unrighteousness, you know, and Father's Day is the way of unrighteousness, you know. So you got it, King.
Right. That's good. It's a very good point, man. Because we're not saying, oh, don't honor your again, because again, we read the precepts, right? The thing is, it's idolatry that it goes to, and the spirit behind these days, right? Because it tells you to, like it says, brothers always say double honor, to unto the elders of the house of David, right? The reason why they say that is because of these men, they've labored, even since they that are in congregations have raised up children and they've done mighty things. They're what they've done, their name, right? Isn't, why is it commercial? And the thing people should know, it's called commercialization, where people, they'll make money. Let's even search that, yeah, right? Searching Google on Google. how much made from Father's Day? All right, let's see. It probably might not be a lot. See that? So let's put in the UK. Yeah, Father's Day coming up this Sunday, right in the UK. See that? That's a lot of money. That's what you call commercialization. It says UK shoppers typically spend roughly 700 million on Father's Day each year. This is significantly low Mother's Day, and that's that straight up woman worship. Obviously there's more of my mom. Tupac. Tupac's mom, and she's my mama. You know what I'm saying? Jake. And Jake's mom could be wicked as hell. I'm not saying you should hate your mom. I'm not saying that. But she could be wicked. Oh yeah, I love my mom. Right? She cheated on my dad, but I love my mom. Right? It says which usually generates more than double that amount. See that? So the average person spending between 30 to 50 pounds is a lot of money, man. Right? If someone has £50, they send it to me, man, so I can put it on my petrol. Right? But it says the average person spends between 30 to 50 pound on gifts, with a typical around 50, 54 pound 38. You see that? They're buying chocolates. And see, the thing is, people don't realize, yeah, this is all like bringing, I'm not agree with it. You know, they're bringing clothing and chocolates and personalized items. This is almost in the spirit. Again, we're looking at this in a spiritual lens. This is almost like you're bringing your offerings, man, right? Because, hey, in tabernacle, right? Well, even on the left side, hey, they use food. They give food to these people, to the alleged gods, and they put food down, and right, they'll make up their best curry, burn some chicken or whatever on their altar. Say, yeah, to my dad, right? You gotta look at it spiritually, man. Chocolates, oh yeah, dad, here you go, dad, right? To dad, just on that one day. Now they're telling me, are you currently looking for a gift inspiration? Right, we're not looking at that, but this is First Timothy 5:17. It says, "Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially those who labor so like you labor in the word and in doctrine." So yeah, man, men, they make old and gray hairs and whatnot, right? But we know it's not just about gray hairs. It's just those, especially because again, like it's let's get that right. I don't know if I'm spelling it right. Yeah, right. It might not come up. All right, well, where is it, man? Let me type that, man. Priest on that. All right.
I think it might be HOARY, I believe.
Okay.
Possibly.
All right, let me try that. Right, because hey, it says about those that have labored. Those are the ones you want to give double honors to, because what they're the ones that have laid the foundation. The brothers and sisters to be in a position where they're at today, where they go through the word. And not everyone say, oh, every breakdown is not about Esau, man. Right? It's not all about Esau. Like, let's get, oh, wait, Esau, why not? Right? Don't worry about Esau all the time, right? But Leviticus 19, verse 32, it says, "Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head and honor the face of the old man and fear thy God. I am the Lord." So essentially, the elders, they would be, they're the ones that really make the decisions a lot of the time, in terms of what happens, But it just says honor the face. It doesn't mean worship these people. Down, bowing down, like kissing their feet, right? Doesn't mean that. And you'd have to show. And when it says, people say, "Oh, it's not talking about respect to persons," that would contradict. There's just a level of respect that is obviously given, to these men, right? But Khan, you got it. You might have to share your screen. Give me 2 seconds, though, yeah.
Yeah. Go on, put it on my screen. Yeah. Can't, like the brother was saying, that about chocolates and that. I got this thing up as well, like some Whitaker's website to do with all chocolates. Look, they got the Mother's Day here, birthdays, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. This is big business, man. This is big business. Look, it even goes into a bit about, when did it start in the UK, and but I want to kind of skip down. Well, I'll start here, because this, I've looked up this in other sources, so it does kind of match. You can do your research as well, but so basically here it says the first known Father's Day celebration was held in Spokane, Washington in 1910, initiated by Sonara Smart Dodd, who wanted to honor her father, a civil veteran. I believe he had like 12 kids or something, and he died. Had 12 children and he died, and she wanted to like honor him basically. It says the idea gradually gained pop. You got some?
I was gonna say it's 12 tribes. I'm still like,
Yes, yeah. The idea gradually gained popularity in the USA, and in 1972, it was officially recognized as a national holiday by President Richard Nixon. So, it happened, it was over in the Americas first when it started. But then it says in the UK, Father's Day did not become widely celebrated until the latter half of the 20th century, you know. And when you kind of go into it, like it's got a lot of history into it. But what I wanted to get down to is this, and how it says how Father's Days are celebrated internationally. You got the United States and UK. It says in these countries, Father's Day is typically celebrated with family gatherings and giving of gifts, cards, other tokens, appreciation, father figures. It's common for families to enjoy a special meal together, whether at home or at a restaurant. So even that, you got to put that in the same category as a Christmas dinner. The fact that you are going out with your father to have a meal on this day is idolatry. It's actually an idolatrous feast, because of this, like the brother said in the beginning, it's the spirit that it comes in, you know. There's more as well. I think there was another one as well. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, Thailand. Yeah, Thailand. Hear this one. In Thailand, Father's Day is celebrated on December the 5th. So they all have different days. Majority of them, like from I think the West and that, they do kind of have it on the third Sunday of June, I believe. But they do have different days. So it says on the December the 5th, yeah, it's in Thailand, the birthday of late King Bhumibol Adulyadej, if that's how you say it, who was considered the father of the nation. People wear yellow, the king's color, and give a canna flower considered masculine to their fathers and grandfathers. So it's more than just Father's Day now. Now in certain countries, they've literally took on the whole spirit of idolatry. Like, they've, like in Thailand, they've set up a king, who is considered the father of the nation. So now they honor that day in reverence to this man, And another one I'm going to quickly get Italy, Spain, and Portugal. It says celebrated on St. Joseph's Day on the March 19th. These countries honor fathers with religious celebrations followed by family gatherings and feasts. So even Spain and Italy and Portugal, they actually, it goes deeper. It goes back before the whole Father's Day thing. They kind of like linked it with St. Joseph's Day, So I just want to get First Peter 4 and verse 3. So First Peter chapter 4 and verse 3. And it reads, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. And it's all involved in it. You have excess wine, you might drink 1-2 wine, then you might be out in a restaurant or a bar and see another, the opposite, sex, and start lusting, man or woman. Do you know what I mean? Walking in lasciviousness, just lusting and just wanting everything, banquetings, and then abominable idolatries as well. Like it's actually a feast where they, they might even get the cake out and put two candles on it and say, yeah, And then, you know, the son gets up with the glass of champagne, everyone pours it, and they're like, yeah, I just want to do a toast to my father. You know, he's been here all my life. This is what's happening in these things, you know. And then look, verse 4 now, it says, wherein they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you. And that's what happens when we come away from all these days, all these things that have been set up by our oppressor and Satan himself and the devil. When we come away from them things, you know, people think that is strange, you know, the fact that because everybody's following Christmas, you know, like the brother brought out, it's big business. Father's Day ain't got nothing on Christmas, you know, even Valentine's Day, and all these days are money schemes, really. But it's deeper than that. It's not even about the money. It's the fact that when we keep up with these things, we are in sin. And the only way that these nations can thrive is when we're in sin, you know, when we're doing the things that the Father told us not to. So that's why, you know, when we come away from them things, they start speaking evil of us, you know, and that's how you know this is the truth, you know. Everyone's not hating Christianity or these Christians. People are not like, you know, people are not giving the middle finger and cursing out these Christians on the street. It's all love, you know, everything's love with them. So let me get John chapter 15 and verse 18. John chapter 15 and verse 18. John 15 and verse 18, and it says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own, but because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So Christ already showed us that when we're hated for this truth, we know we're on the right track. You know what I'm saying? Because Christians are not hated for them bringing out John's 3:16. You know, people don't. They're not. But they're not. You know, boycotting and you know, like, because this a lot of stuff's gonna start happening because of certain people that are using this ministry for filthy lucre. They're putting out videos with just wickedness, like doing madness, with this got nothing to do with the scripture. So this is what happens when we come away from these idolatries and, you know, keeping up with these their feast days of the world. Yeah, the world's gonna hate us. Do you know what I'm saying? So don't think it's strange when you know your family member turns around and says, "What? You're not coming to my birthday? Like I'm, you know, or you're not coming to grandma's birthday? She's 90. How can you do that?" You know, and then next minute, now there's contention and strife between family members because you're keeping the commandments. That's how you know you're on the right track. So yeah, I'll give it to you, King.
And that's the good point, man. You can't just like you don't expect to be. And even like the brother was saying stuff like that about how, you know, we're not. There'll be times when we teaching at camp, people will say, make just absurd claims. You're racist. You'll hate this. We'll read the Bible. They won't be happy with what we're saying. They'll say, "Oh, you're breaking it down wrong." It will literally say Christ said only sent for particular people. My people are this people, the other nations, this. There's just so many claims. But if we keep it, hold people to the Bible, man. Because then, and you know, brother Tazapar, you ask people like, always ask other people. So, what's your moral compass? Me, myself. It's myself. I am a moral compass. I believe in me. Brother, last week you told me saying you have to open this and this to there, for this to there. In some Epicurean style manner, man. You know, the book of First Maccabees chapter 4, and I'll start from verse. It's like First Maccabees 2, and I'll start from verse number 20. It says, I'll start from 19. It says, then Mattathias, and this was a good father figure, man. This was a good father. Right? He gets his double honors, you know. He's mentioned in the scriptures, and it's because other Israelite men who don't know what Israel, done that were on a maybe a minute scale, right? Hey, but Mattathias, he's up there, man, right? The Moses, right? The Moseses, the Ezra, Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, Daniel, right? These men of old, they have their double honors, man, because of what they done, how they labored, right? This is First Maccabees 2 and 19. Then Mattathias answered and said with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion, obey him. Because you got the king's birthday coming up as well, I think. I think this Sunday as well, right? King's birthday coming. You're going to have all sorts of coups coming out, for is it King's birthday? That's on Saturday, on the Shabbat. See that? Right? So-called kings. Only I know is Hamashiach, Yahushua. Right? It says, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and follow away everyone from the religion of their fathers, because even today you have that. Right? When was the Elamite man smoking cigarettes? Right? When were these, I don't know, man. Even these Somalians, when did they start, were they Muslims? They had their own religions, their own things that they kept, their culture, right? Where they followed and believed in their deity, man, and give consent to his commandments, right? Yet I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers, man. So we got to walk in the covenant of our fathers, man. In what? Doing the statutes and the commandments that the Most High set up for the children of Israel to keep, right? Doesn't mean you don't do the things for this world, man, right? Doesn't mean okay, it's the World Cup. I can't watch the World Cup. It's not in the Bible, right? Don't be grievous, man. You want to watch the World Cup? Hey, watch the World Cup, man. But don't, you know what I'm saying? Bro, saying yeah, it's off the World Cup. That's off, man. You want to watch the World Cup? Watch the World Cup, man. Right? Nice and Sabbath day. You're damn kind of. The parents got the Sabbath. You know it's the Sabbath as well. You're going downstairs. It's got a big damn TV. You're sat in the corner of the door because it's the Sabbath day. You're looking at the screen with one eye because Christ, if your right eye offends you, right, pluck it out. Then you're saying, okay, I'm gonna have to pluck this eye out, and then I can still watch the Sabbath because I've plucked that eye out, right? And you're watching it from the corner. Hey, that's the Sabbath day, man. You really want to. Though you don't want to be doing your pleasures on that day. Oh, it's the Sabbath day, keep it holy. But let me rip on the damn, I don't know, man. Brazil versus them. Let me rip that one. Yeah. Look at Neymar. Hey, man, Leviticus 18:4. Ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinance. And an ordinance is like a direct commandment, right? Essentially, right? A strict commandment. Kind of search it as well. All right, it's a decree or a law, right? An authoritative decree. There's decrees that as the children of Israel, we're supposed to keep these things, right? It says to walk therein, I am the Lord your God. It says verse 5. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. So this statute got to do, right? So let's kind of dive into this Father's Day, man. All right, so some sources, right? People have done their own research, and you have to see that they say Yahweh, right? But see that they give their Psalms 19:7. The law of the Most High is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. So whoever this person is, right? We don't know, maybe but we don't know what nation they are. They say, are they in the spirit? Right? This is what it says. It says Father's Day, like Mother's Day, not just a happy day for parents. During earlier times, Father's Day was known by the name of Great Sky Father's Day. See that? Celebrating Father's Day gives honor to the pagan god. I hope I say this one. See that? Callus, man. What's that? And the summer solstice. You see that? So it says even the modern practice of giving fathers neckties. You see that? I think that's like bow ties or whatever. As a present day is connected with Father's Day original. The Father's Day's original pagan rituals. During Roman and Grecian times, animals ready to be sacrificed were recognized by the ties of ribbon that were placed around their neck on this day. Today it's dads, see that? Look at that. Today it's dads who are being offered up as sacrifices to the great sky father god through gifts of the necktie. Yeah, that's madness. That's madness. I didn't read it down, but I know it's something about these, like, neckties. That's complete madness.
Just a quick point. That's like a big thing for the Father's Day nowadays. Like getting like a tie or a bow tie. Do you know what I'm saying? That's like the main thing when it comes to Father's Day. So yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense.
See that? Now they're not trying to AI overview that. Well, they have all the answers though. You know?
Right, saying you
can. I just want an AI overview of what, AI overview. I quite can spell that. Overview. See that? Me. Necktie, traditional, symbolic, classic fatherhood, affirming dignity.
Look, it says there, it represents one of the earliest and most convenient gifts for dads. So, it's one of the first sorts of gifts that they used to give to fathers on that day.
See that? It's amazing. Right? Let me see in ancient Rome and Greece. Let's see what it says. They probably won't even throw it up there, bro. Let's see. We don't know. Yeah, you see that? Okay, let me see. Neckties on animals ribbon or sacrifice. Let's see.
See.
Yeah. So, this is, and yeah, man, you see our AI overview, you're not always gonna find it playing upon tables, right? Gotta do, let me get a preset, right? Like we just make up stuff as we go. Say, yeah, you just making up stuff. Hey, we're just here to bring out the wisdom. This the book of. Let's go to Sirach 51:2. For thou art my defender and helper, and preserve my body from destruction, and from the snare of the slanderous tongue, and from the lips that forge lies, and has been my helper against my adversary. So we're here to, do that, man. Preserve our people from falling into that simple snare, man, or lies, right? You're not always gonna just find it straight. It says, okay, it's pagan. Is it pagan? Now, I was kind of typing that in, trying to put in different ways, you know what I'm saying? Trying to find a loop. Because everything is, like it says, Ecclesiastes 1:9, man. Let's get that as well. And then we'll go back to a bit of that history, man. Everything that's here, oh, well, it's not been, hey, it has, man. Oh, it's not really been here. Oh, it's been here, man. Right? Ecclesiastes 3, and I'll start from verse 15. It says, same thing as Ecclesiastes 1:9. Basically, it says, the thing which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and Yahweh required that which also say, you know, the thing that I bring that back, man. That same thing, the Most High is going to use it again, right? So back, it says, yes, there is a direct and fascinating. Why is it fascinating? Right, and notice a lot of this wickedness. So I'll get one more precept now. Right, this Maccabees want a lot of these evil things, these weird customs. Those were before the Greeks and the Romans. When the so-called right man, this is him. He's the Greek or the Roman. Hey, when it comes on, see all the wickedness starts coming out, man. Right, on a mass level. This is First Maccabees 1:9, and after his death, Alexander's death, right, the Alexander the Freak, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. Evils were multiplied in the earth. So during these Greco-Roman times, that's where the confusion starts coming. It says, yes, there is a direct and fascinating historical link between ribbons, ties, and animal sacrifices in ancient Greece and Rome. Why did they not use modern neckties? The ritual of wrapping ribbons or woolen bands around the necks, see that? Because of you do the same thing. And horns of a sacrificial animal was a mandatory step in ancient Greco-Roman religion. So both cultures, an animal chosen for sacrifice, such as an ox, sheep, see they use pigs. And that's in the Maccabees as well. They put it on the altar, right, and defile it. It says could not simply be brought to the. And why would you sacrifice a pig? Right? This could not simply be brought to the altar bare. It had to be adorned to show it was sacred, pure, and set apart for the gods. So when you're buying your daddy, you're buying him a necktie, and you're saying, "Oh, yeah, look," and you put on. You're letting these damn demons know, yeah, he's up for sale. It says the Roman sacrificial animal in Fula, a thick twisted band of red and white wool that was wrapped around the animal's head and neck, hanging down from the head were long ribbons vetted, right? So, younger married women decorate sacrifice animals with woolen ribbons, right? Neck and put around his neck again. The ribbons, it says, tying these ribbons onto animals serve several crucial religious and social purposes. The ribbons transformed an ordinary farm into a holy offering. You see that? Look at that. Sign of willing consent. They see that, right? So that whole necktie kind of going off, man, right? They're kind of going off, right? I don't know if you got anything to bring up. I'll go to the second link as well.
Yeah, go on. You got it.
Right. So here's another link. So it says, it's kind of the same person's page. And again, Psalms 19:7. It says, June is known for celebrating Father's Day. Even though this holiday gets less media coverage than Mother's Day, both holidays are deceptive and do not honor father nor mother. The origin of both of these celebrations is based in paganism. It says Baal is a biblical father of Father's Day, and Ashtaroth is the queen of Mother's Day. So kind of, their small little trends, what they're saying regarding, but you got it.
Can't. So yeah, that the history, man. There's a lot of just. It's more than it just being about the Father's Day. It's like there's a history to it as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you can just share my screen, Baba Shah. Is it sharing? Yeah. Yeah, can't. So basically, it's like says the ancient history of St. Joseph's Day, celebrated on 19th of March, represents the original religious blueprint for Father's Day. For over a millennium, Western Christianity has dedicated this day to honoring St. Joseph, the husband of the Virgin Mary, and the legal father of Jesus Christ. There was another one I saw that actually said, which was so-called Jesus, or Yahweh Shai's earth father. See how they've reworded it here: Virgin Mary and the legal, like, yeah. So yeah, and so basically, it says the earliest records of a day dedicated says to Saint Joseph date back to the 10th century European calendars. Yeah, the custom of celebrating St. Joseph on 19th of March was officially established in Rome. Yeah, and then in the early 1500s, the Catholic Church formally supported using the feast of St. Joseph as a day to revere paternal figures, creating the very first iteration of Father's Day long before the modern holiday was born. So listen, before it was even in the 1900s over here, yeah, it was already done in the Middle Ages, or just after the Middle Ages, you know. And yeah, so I want to quickly go to Joshua chapter 24 and verse 15. Yeah, so Joshua, and so these are the things that we like. We can't be ignorant, like it says in Sirach. We can't be ignorant to these things, like just because it doesn't affect you and your life right now. It actually is. If you're Israelite and you're following these days, it is actually idolatry that you're doing. So it's going to catch up with you some way or another. So this is Joshua 24, and I'll start at 14 instead. It says, "Now therefore fear Yahweh and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye Yahweh." And that's the same, man. We're even today we're saying the same thing when we're out there trying to gather in the people. We're saying, look, stop serving these other gods. Like, they don't even know they're serving other gods. The fact that they're putting anything before the Most High, that is them serving. It might not be like a sky god, like the brother brought out. It might not be them gods in Egypt, the sky and the earth, the brother and sister. It might not be all that, but the things that we do daily and what we have in our lives could become idolatry, man. Your phone could be an idol. Do you know what I'm saying? Food could be an idol. All these things, even your children. Like, this is what we're going into. You're making your father an idol by putting him on a pedestal for that one day in a year. It's just like birthdays, So verse 15, it says, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh." So we have to choose, man. Every day we have to choose. The decisions we make, we have to choose whether we are serving the Most High, or that we're gonna serve the I don't know, the things of this world. The idolatry and the wickedness that this world pushes, you know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be a time where you're going to be put in that position where it's like, are you going to choose that? Are you going to choose the Most High, or are you going to choose these pagan days? And a lot of our people are very stiff-necked, and if it they're comfortable in this life, even though they're oppressed, they're comfortable. If something kind of affects them going out on Friday or Saturday, they're not with it. It takes them, it's like taking taking a child, a toy away from a child. You know, the way these our people are, and they're grown ass men, grown ass women. You know, sometimes we notice this on the highway. Sometimes the younger generation are more receiving to this truth than it is that the elders. And that's why we have to choose. We have to choose this day whether we want to go into idolatry or we want to keep serve the Lord. So I'm going to quickly go to James 4:4. Yeah, James chapter 4 and verse 4. I'll get one more after this and then I'll pass it. So this is James chapter 4 and verse 4. And it reads, it says, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye that the friendship of the world is enmity with God. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God." So, you know what I mean? If you're doing these worldly things, these worldly holidays, you're keeping Christmas, you're keeping, in fact, let me go to Jeremiah 10, and that goes with the one you brought out earlier still, you know. So Jeremiah 10, and I'll start at 1. Yeah, because this ain't just about Christmas. You know, like Leviticus 18 is going into when it talks about you know, the ordinances and the you know, it's not the same. Like it's not just one thing, it's everything that these other nations are doing. So this is Jeremiah 10 and 1. It says, "Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." So it says, "For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands and the workman with the axe." So the customs of these other nations are vanity. They're useless. They mean nothing. You know, it's like the Most High gave them the moon, the stars, for them to be, you know, wowed by. You know, they're in awe by these things. But how much more us having the creator of all of it? You know, that's why we can't be you know, pulled away with these, you know, customs of the world. You know, like, and this is a custom. You know, but yeah, you got it, King.
You know, you don't want to be taken by the things of the world and try and, you know, like we was going over the Sabbath, man. You had that demon and that one elder talking about Thanksgiving is Yahweh Shai or some folly like that. You know? That's really just terrible. You're trying to make one understanding, right? And you know, just read the classic, man. Romans, Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. "Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit." So like the brother said, the customs of the nations is vain deceit, because it's keeping you away from the Most High. And how are you going to keep? You put Father's Day, okay, I can't be out here because it's Father's Day, and above, you know, even keeping the Sabbath day, you know, keeping Pentecost or, you know, whatever feast day it may be, that is a high holy day, right? It says, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after because what means Helen days, right? Holidays, you know, that's what they'll you towards, man. After the world, and not after what the word actually teaches, man. You know, so, you know, even this on this PDF, you know, and I believe this person is an Israelite. It's on Israeliteway.com, you know, and it says talk about Mother's Day, right? But the main point that we're here for is what it says about Father's Day, right? And it literally quoted that Colossians 2 and 8 and Jeremiah 10 and 2. It says Father's Day also has pagan roots. It was based after the Sky Father, after the worship, of the Sky Father or the Father of the universe. Father's Day is based after Egyptian and Babylonian customs and their worshipping of the sun god. You see that? So if you're, just like people in Sunday church or whatever, they worship in the sun, which is why it is observed on the third day, on the third Sunday of June. Listen to this though, during the June solstice. See? So these Father's Day, hey, they don't, oh, is it on purpose? Hey, they know what they're doing, man. It says now Father's Day kept on worldwide until much later in history. It wasn't until 1910 that here in America it was proclaimed a day of worship, yeah. And it wasn't until 1972 that President Woodrow Wilson declared it a national holiday. Father's Day was only created as a complement to Mother's Day, and the kind of see that, right? So this person, they've gone to the whole. It says about the summer. I don't even know about this June solstice, man. I searched it. I was looking it up today, right? Again, it's Father's Day going into the June solstice, right? The June solstice. So now they're talking about Stonehenge. And the June solstice, let me just type this. Let me type this in. Is this the summer solstice, right? Solstice. Right, so this will help us put things together. All this is right now is the puzzle, right? I just asked, see, look, but they've answered my question, right? It says the 2026 summer solstice will have been 6 days, right? That's on Sunday the 21st, and that's literally when Father's Day will be, right? So Father's Day, for some reason, lands on the day of the damn summer solstice, right? And just look at that summer solstice madness, right? You still there, King?
Yeah, come
on. Right, so there's we can shut the live down now. Right, see, look at this. These people are mad. Listen to this. Yes, so the summer solstice day pagan, question mark. Yes, the summer solstice is a major pagan holiday known as the Litha. And they got the movie Midsummer Night or something like that. And the people, I think they're all wearing white or something madness like that. I don't know if you remember that from secondary school, maybe. What's Midsummer Night? There's a movie called Midsummer. That's it. This one. You see that? And this movie. Look, see. Look, let's look at what this movie is. Right? This just tells you it's off. This literally just tells you it's off. Right? Movie. It's a folklore horror. She travels to Sweden, looks at that, with her indifferent boyfriend and his friends to attend a rural pagan festival. The trip devolves into terrifying ordeal as the cult-like commune brutality purges outside. You see that? So this thing has some sort of, and this is not this is a cult, but this is an old one, right? Some witchcraft and madness, right? But this is just a movie, right? It's probably based on a true story, right? But going back to it, it says in the Wiccan and pagan calendars, so they got their calendars too. It is one of their 8 annual Sabbats. These guys, man. Right? They say it's one of the 8 annual Sabbats. Right? Sabbats. It celebrates the longest day of the year, the peak of the power, and the abundance of nature. While the day, I'm going to jump down. Actually, I'm going to read. It says, traditions tied deeply to folklore and earth-based spirituality. It says they've got the bonfires to honor the sun and boost the energy for a good harvest. You see these demons, right? For some reason, this is on the same day as Father's Day, right? People will jump over the flames. See that for luck and protect. Now you turn into an Elamite and you're saying, let me walk on the rocks. Right? So, now this, they would set wheels covered in straw and fire and roll them down the hill into rivers to ensure bountiful crops, So they'll gather herbs, make flower crowns. And we just see in that movie, she's wearing a flower crown. Right? In that midsummer, you see that? She's wearing a flower crown. Right? It says, and perform rituals to draw on the heightened magical energy of the sun. See that? So they're going off. And this is tied to the whole, see that mysticism spirit. That's all going into what? Right? They're, what's this called, man? Right? Let me see. Why is Father's Day on the same day? They're going to say, oh, no, it doesn't mean anything. That's what they're going to say, probably. There's no correlation. Hey, nothing's coincidence, man. Right? This is purely devil. See that? But it's always on the side, right, of June. Because the dates of Sundays change every year. So it can fall on the June 15th. So that's what it is. Right? But it says, look, is there a historical or pagan link? I'll read it properly. While scheduling overlap is just a quirk on the calendar, some modern pagans note a similar connection. Hey, so we're not gonna take the people that this just is what it is. The people, these pagans, they know the day when the damn spirits are going up. Even in the winter, it's the same thing. It says in certain branches of earth-based spirituality, the sun is viewed as the father of the universe, yeah? Or the active masculine energy, often personified as the Oak King. You see that? Now we're getting deep, man. The Oak King. Right? I say that's the Oak King. Because the solstice marks the sun at its absolute peak of power, celebrating fatherhood the same exact day carries a nice symbolic alignment. See that? For those who follow pagan traditions. So these Edomites will go to some forest. They'll go up in forest, man. Right? And they'll go and sit down and they damn. Look at this demon. Right? Look at this demon. Right? Some damn Game of Thrones spirit, man.
The tree, is it? Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, man. Or damn, I don't know. What's that movie, man? Lord of the Rings.
Rings, yeah, or Hobbit or something. That spirit.
Hobbit, the trees down walking, man. Oak King. Madness, Father's Day. Let's see. Say no. Bring up the AI overview, man. Where you at? That AI overview doesn't want to expose. You see that? Now they don't want to get into it. Come on, think quicker. See that? See that? Because Father's Day coincides with the summer solstice, Celtic and pagan traditions celebrate the holiday alongside the Oak King. See that? So I see that. Or solstice themed family day out. So there's these Edomites weird, man. And they damn talking about this is the Oak King celebration. You think, this is just a damn Father's Day. You're damn celebrating some Oak King, man. That's embedded into some tree there in damn Epping Forest. Right? You see that? There's a much higher deal with this. It's like Davy Jones, man, in Pirates of the Caribbean. Right? So I read on. It says, yeah, man. It says, however, the creators of modern day Family Day, and again, trying to say, it's not paganism, it was to mirror Mother's Day. Well, hey, You got it, King man. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, that
They're
was a
telling.
lot. Go on.
Yeah. No, I just say they're telling themselves. Oh, it's not a coincidence. Yeah, we didn't know.
Yeah, nah, that's what I mean. AI overview don't want to deal with Father's Day, innit? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not it's not dealing with Father's Day still. But that's what it does, man, because you know, everything is set up to keep us from knowing the truth, you know, like it goes back to the tree in the garden, you know. It's like there's always something somewhere trying to veer you off from the truth. That's why you need to be rooted in this thing. You know, all that stuff that they're doing now, like, you know, the brother brought out with the, you know, pagan summer solstice and, you know, these traditions, these were done back in this back in the day. There's nothing new under the sun, you know. The same, like, witches and warlocks that used to sacrifice uh animals on the left hand side, and even like children and stuff like that. It's the same thing that they're doing today, and it's all in order to keep us from knowing who we are. That's the one main goal of these elites, as you would call them. So I'm going to go to Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25 says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. So, you know, this can go to these leaders of the world today, like through the policies that they create, like, you know, these days being national holidays and how they link up with these pagan ritual days. He's causing that to prosper in his way, because we're the ones that are, you know, buying into it. We're spending all the money, you know, buying all these things for your father, mother, all of this, you know, and he's prospering at the downfall of us, you know. It says, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He also shall stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. So again, you know, we can use this to Esau right now. In it, he's magnifying himself in his heart with all these days. Yeah, by peace, he's destroying many. You know, because he's got them smooth words. You know, like, you know, why wouldn't you, you know, you tell someone, oh, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing Father's Day, Mother's Day. They're going to be like, well, why wouldn't you want to buy a gift and honor? Not even honor, they don't even use that word. Honor's not in these lots vocabulary. Yeah, like, why don't you want to get him a present, get your father a present or your mother a present? Like, what's wrong with that, you know? And this is why, because it's the smooth words that he's pushing out there, you know. Father's Day, Mother's Day, like, you know, why wouldn't you honor your mother or honor your father? And this is causing him to prosper, you know. So I'm gonna go to Wisdom of Solomon now. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12. You know, because this is going back to the whole sacrificing and the idolatry, and then and the you know, the wicked priests and warlocks, because they're doing something behind in the background. They're always doing. They have a deep search on how to keep us in sin. You know what I'm saying? So this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, and I'll start at 4, yeah, because this is talking about the Canaanites, the old Canaanites, yeah. But this same spirit is what these leaders and these rulers have, not even just today, for the past generations have been doing the same thing. So it says, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices. So this is talking about the Canaanites. But even today, we see that, you know, you got all the Epstein and all these islands, and Hillary Clinton and all these people that are doing these witchcrafts and sacrifices behind closed doors. Yeah. It says, verse 5, it says, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh and the feasts of blood. So even now, like the feast, you know, like what the brother was bringing out, even the feast now today, they have a meaning behind it. It's not just you know you're just having a feast in with your father. It's deeper than that. You're actually giving your father as a sacrifice, especially if you're putting that bow around his neck and the ribbon. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's what they used to do in ancient Rome and Greece. So it says, verse 6, it says, with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew and parents that killed their own hands, with their own hands, souls destitute of help. So again, they're killing their children. They don't care about their children. So you think Esau cares about Father's Day and Mother's Day? It's only the ones that you will see go and work with daily that they might, they keep Christmas. You say, oh, do you believe in God? No, but they're keeping Christmas. They're having a big old feast, at Christmas, around the table, but none of them believe in God. None of them not understand what's really going on. But the ones behind the closed doors, the ones that are actually enforcing these laws and these decrees, like all these days that they're just making up, you know what I'm saying, but mixing it in with all this ancient pagan days, they're the ones you need to be worried about, because they don't care about their fathers. They're not keeping Father's Day, so why should you? Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why we need to understand what's going on, man. We need to understand, like, it's not, you can't be ignorant with things like this, like like the brother said about the World Cup and that, like on the Sabbath day, like, you're kind of watching it. It's very serious, because what you're giving your mind over to is that's what you're gonna reap, innit? So if you're gonna be ignorant to the fact that all these pagan days actually mean something in the background, yeah, then you're gonna be caught out there. This is all gonna consume you eventually, and you're gonna have to answer, you know. But yeah, you got it, King.
Yeah, man. Is it? Am I still like bright or
Yeah, I can see you.
I can't. And yeah, man. Like the brother said, man. Again, there's days. You giving your gift to your dad. Yeah, it's not off. Oh yeah. Oh, my dad. Let's get a classic, man. Yeah, honor your mother and father, man. Right? Exodus 20 verse number 12. It says, honor thy mother and thy father, that days may be long upon the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So, hey, that's so plain, man. Right? Honor your mother and your father. All praise to the
Father, mother.
Yeah. See that? I say, honor your father and your mother, right? You don't want to, you're in the truth now. You're so zealous. And rebuking your, you might, and again, you might tell your father, like, hey, we can't eat certain food. You can't do so. Yeah, hey, man. You still gotta have, that manner of respect about it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of how you deal with me. Doesn't mean you have respect the person, though. You don't say nothing, right? Because let me get one more piece of it, actually. This is Sirach 20, right? It's good for ancient men to know the people, to even know counsel, even to know these things, man. This is Sirach. I think it was Sirach. You know what priest I'm talking about?
What one?
It says, how good is it?
Yeah, it's there. It's 3, verse 3. Verse 3.
Yeah. Sirach 20, I'll read from verse 2. It says it much better. Well, kind of it, is much better to reprove than to be angry secretly, and he who confesses fault shall be preserved from hurt. Verse 3, how good is it when thou art reproved to show repentance? Also shall thou escape awful sin. So it's good to be a correction. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't, oh no, I'm not trying to be correct. Hey man, it's good for ancient hairs. Yeah, see, this is what I wanted. Right? Sirach 25:3. It says, if thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? So we gotta get this now, and that's why you were saying it earlier. A lot of the young, those are the babes, man. Those are the babes. The babes in meaning you're still a youth, you're still a children, right? They're the ones that are wanting the milk, man. They're the ones that wanting the knowledge, the understanding, the honey, the bitter and sweet. Some of the elders, you tell elders, oh no, right? So it says verse 4, how comely thing is judgment for grey hair, and for ancient men to know counsel. You see that? So they got to know counsel and judgment too, in terms of knowing, okay, these days, they're not of the Most High. They're days that are completely contrary to what the Most High has actually told us to keep, man. Right? And we gotta make sure that, and Christ had that same spirit, man. About being about his father's business, man. Right? And his parents, and I love bringing this up, showing you how they were confounded. Right? Why is he saying that? This is Mark 2. Mark 2, see that? Luke 2, I think it is. Maybe Luke 2. Lord will not find it. Alright, Luke. I think it's Luke. Alright. Luke chapter 2, and I'll start from verse 48. Luke 2:48. And when they saw him, they were amazed, and his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou dealt thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I saw thee sorrowing. So look, that's his literal. How does someone call somebody's father, right? Because they had to have laid down. They laid down. So they didn't. They laid down. As simple as that. Going on, it says, and he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Ye not that I must be about my father's business? They said, look, I'm about the Lord's business, man. People ask us in camp, why are you guys working? How are you going to working? Something they teach in the Bible. Right? Yeah, that's work. But that's not me laboring and me breaking the Sabbath day. Christ on the Sabbath day. The apostles went out, Acts 18:4, and they went out every day on the Sabbath day, man, preaching Hamashiach, and they understood not the saying which he spake unto them. Because hold on, Joe's probably like, yo, hold on, I'm your dad. What are you talking about? Right? But obviously, Yahushua, and he was talking about Yahweh, man. It's about his father's business, man. So again, I get one more when I kind of go to some of some of the history stuff, and I go and I pass it, right? So look, some sources here, right? So this is Mark 7, and I'll start from verse, right, number 6. Yeah, Mark 7:6. It says, he answered and said unto them, well, how Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. So, hey, today people, I love God, I love Jesus, right? They love to put on. You start telling them, hey, look, you got to put on the dress. You got to stop the import. You got to stop doing this. Stop adultery, fornication, etc., etc. I'll keep the Sabbath day. All the excuses start coming out of the damn, like a damn magic trick. Damn, putting long napkins. Their excuses coming out. So you might say something with your lips, but your heart, your mind is far from them, right? And I believe that's Isaiah 23, maybe, or 29, right? I think, right? It says, verse 7, howbeit in vain do worship, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. So in vain, they think, oh, this is Father's Day. And somehow they'll link it to Jesus. I'm sure they'll link Father's Day to Jesus somehow.
Mm.
Right? Oh, gee, look, that's what Father's Day celebrates. Something about celebrates Jesus. Alright, let's see some stupid stuff. No, it doesn't. But some Christians may think, yeah, you see, Father's Day celebrates Jesus in several beautiful and practical ways. So, they just making up anything, man. Making up anything. And you're stupid, lazy, pastors, they will say some stuff and, oh, this is about Father's Day. And they start pulling up scriptures to justify it. Bringing it, right? So let's go to, some of the sources I pulled up, right? So what I've got, man? Let's touch on this one. All right, so this one is called the Hall of Names Father's Day Tradition. It says, see that? So it says, where did Father's Day begin? It talks about the same thing the brother brought up, 9-10, and Mother's Day. Right? Some say that it is a connection to pagan sun worship and the summer solstice. This is because in branches of paganism, the sun is the father of the universe, and we touched on that, right? We completely touched on that. So, and it's not that it does, it doesn't. There's no coincidence. There's no coincidence. I was just coincidentally, accident. No, but they done that on purpose. And sometimes, even when it comes down to searching these things, you have to use independent searches. You can't just use Google. It's not gonna. Google's. It's gonna be even when it comes to search for Earth, it's gonna be the algorithm is kind of like automatically set to give you all the points that debunk there being a flat Earth, basically. Things like Yandex. Yandex is one that I use. Every now you want to kind of find something that's your mainstream school of thought, right? So it says Sky Father's Day Pagan, right? Father's Day, the third Sunday in June, frequently coincides with the summer solstice, Lithia. Historically, it celebrates the sacred masculine. And anyone that's saying this little say that I've got to get in my masculine, I think personally, you're homosexual, right? I don't think you need to declare I'm masculine. Bro, someone say, yeah, like they start doing that. Oh yeah, the divine. I used to be divine feminine, and now I'm in my masculine. Right? I'm in my masculine phase, and I'm a man. I used to be. I am still a man. The X. It's not saying XY chromosome, but it says it celebrates the sacred masculine and aligns with the ancient worship of the sky father, such as Zeus, Greek, which is the Greek, and Jupiter, Roman, who provides sun and rain to nurture the earth. See that? So the spirit behind these days, the connection, is all going completely contrary to the whole thing of the scriptures, man. Right? It says, I was kind of chopping down the sources. There's a called parentalia, right? It's an ancestral day, right? It's called parentalia, right? Again, this is by the Romans. The parentalia, and people say, okay, we have a feast day. Hey, these nations, they got their feast days, man. They got feast days and they celebrate to their deities and devils and demons, right? And these wicked spirits, man. Right? It says the parentalia was a 9-day ancient Roman festival held from February 13th to the 21st to honor family and ancestors and appease the dead. It serves as a time of private mourning, domestic purification, family remembrance to ensure spirits of the dead remain peaceful. So there were certain their days that when you kind of tie them together, start seeing hold on, the honoring of family and ancestors, man, right? A day. These are 9 festivals that's set for, okay, damn, this is for damn Uncle John, Uncle John, he's still alive with us, but the ninth festival for him, it's just idolatry, just plain idolatry. So it says, and I'll kind of after this, it says, um, uh, I mean, that like it's pagan. It's just keeping it smooth, innit? Right? I don't really know if I have not a lot on this. Right, but can't you got it, King? I'll pass it.
Yeah, and everything that we're bringing out is all proving that, these days have been made up. They're not of the Most High, and they're made by man. And when traditions of man are in the midst, there's some evil there. Do you know what I'm saying? Not some. I'll say mostly evil, because everyone's walking after their own imagination. Where's that one? Let me get that one. I think it's Genesis, isn't it? Genesis, I believe. Yeah, Genesis 6 and verse 5. Yeah, Genesis 6 and verse 5. And this was like in the beginning, really. It says, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. How much more now over these times? Over these generations now, generation after generation, how more wicked is man? Like Job said, in it, man eats a drink of iniquity like water, and that's why we have these scriptures that help us, because we can see these accounts, because eventually it might be a light thing now, like what's it, Father's Day and Valentine's Day, but there's going to be a time where you're most likely going to be forced to eat these foods sacrificed to idols. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you cannot do it now, then do you know what I'm saying? What's it going to be like when they force you to do it? So that's why we need to get into it now. So let me get First Maccabees. There's another account, of like the brother brought out, when the Greeks got in control. That's it, wicked multiplied. How much more now? So I'll start at verse 41. Maccabees, First Maccabees 1:41 says, no, I'll start up, I'll start up still. I'll start up. I'll say verse 38. I'll start at 38. It says, in so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and become strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. So this is when the temple and when Jerusalem got taken down, So verse 39, it says, her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness, her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. So how great Jerusalem was and Israel was, it flipped the other side because of us going off. So, and the Most High used these wicked, evil nations to basically do that. So verse 41 says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And we're seeing that now. That's that new world order vibe, like everyone, they want everyone to be on the same accord, like how we are as in this ministry, that we have to be on one mind and all speak the same thing. That's what this new world is pushing for. They're doing the same thing that what the Greeks were doing back then. Even the Romans tried to carry it on, and today is nothing more than a modern day Rome when you check it. So verse 42, it says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. So even like today, it's a commandment for shops to not open on Christmas Day. like a New
Sure.
Year's Day. So they actually have made it a law for us to actually keep it, even though we're not working, things ain't open. You know, you can't do what you want to do, like banks shut. It's called a bank holiday. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is a commandment from these men. So, verse 43, it says, "Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath." So this is, we see it today. If we look at this in a spiritual mind, we see it the same today. Our people are sacrificing unto idols unknowingly, even some knowingly. They're profaning the Sabbath. They're consenting to his religion. What's his religion? His religion is, you know, these days, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas Day. His religion is like paying taxes, going to work 9 to 5. You know, everyone's caught up in his religion. You know, his Christianity, his Islam. He's behind all of this. You know, I'm talking about Esau, the main culprit. You know, these other nations are there too, but he's the main culprit. So I'm gonna skip to no, just go to 44 still. So it says, "For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land." And that's what it's going to get to on time. We're going to be forced to keep the laws of the land, and we are already, like, we've got to keep the law of the land. We can't, you know, there's certain things you can't do, like you can't buy land unless you've got certain you know, credit on all of that stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is the point now. At 45, it says, "And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days." And I don't know if brothers have noticed, but all their days and their pagan days tend to line up with our feast days. And they do
Yeah.
that on purpose. Do you know what I'm saying? They do that on purpose so that there's a spirit behind it. It causes more what's it, temptation, you would say, to brothers, especially new brothers and sisters in the truth, around these times like Passover. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, you've got Easter, you know, Christmas last year was like around the time of dedication, you know. So they do this on purpose. They know what they're doing, you know. But I'm gonna finish on Sirach chapter 3. Sirach chapter 3 and verse I'll start at like 2, I believe. Because because the whole point we're going into is about Father's Day. Yeah. And we know that obviously the commandment says in Exodus 20 and 12 to honor your father and your mother, that thy days may be long up in the land. Yeah. So Sirach 3 and verse 2, it says, "For the Lord have given the father honor over the children and have confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons." So, you know, the father's got the authority, really. He's the head, you know, over the children and the mother. But to the way you honor your father and mother is by actually keeping these commandments in word and in deed, you know. So it says, verse 3, "Whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for his sins." So when you're honoring your father, you're making atonement for your sins. You're not you're not doing that on the third Sunday of
Of
the
June.
third year of June every year. You know, like this
Right.
is some day of atonement. This is not a day of atonement, you know.
Right.
So every day you're honoring your father, and that's by keeping these commandments. Um, yeah, there's more, but I'll pass it, King. I'll pass it.
Do you think?
Go on. So verse 4, it says, "And he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure." So it's not just about your father as well, your mother as well. You know, obviously there's a balance to this thing. You know, you can't just not honor your mother because the father's the head. Like, so you kind of like, this is why these precepts are here, because you can't neglect one. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, that precept with the you know, if a man have two wives and he hates the second wife and she has his first son, you can't hate that son, man. You got that son has the right to your inheritance, you know, because that's the way the law is, you know. So verse 5 says, whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children, and when he maketh his prayer, he shall be heard. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you want to have honor, you want to have joy in your children. You want to know that when you make your prayer to the Most High, He's going to hear you. And that a big way of doing that is by honoring your father and not by keeping Father's Day. Father's Day has nothing to do with it, you know? And yeah, I mean, you got it, King. You got it.
And you know, even to jump into that as well, man. Ecclesiastes 6, right? You wanna don't let this one day be negate. And really, even when it says about the mother, mother, you know, really, wisdom is a mother unto us. You know? It's obviously double, but this is Sirach 6, verse 3. No, right. Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and 3. It says, if a man bear 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, his soul not filled with good. Also, that you have no burial. I say that an untimely birth is better than he. So, you know, even the children, you know, honoring father goes beyond just this one idolatrous day. Even giving your father a burial, that's important. You know, that's have a burial. Man. Hey, it's better for him to have an untimely birth, you know, because this was showing, you know, the reverence you had towards your father. You know what I'm saying? You know, in terms of obviously he's brought you up in the precepts. He's raised you up like we brought in Proverbs 22 and 6. You know, into the truth to be. You know, he's taught you to be like him. Man. He hasn't taught you after a pagan or festivals or whatnot. He showed you wisdom. You know, showed you some form of understanding for you to grow in the spirit, man. Right. This is Sirach 30, and I'll start from verse 4. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he have left one behind that is like himself. Man. So straight up and down, you know, your father, you know, hey, he would have been, you know, hey, he would have given you the instructions of how to keep it moving in these last days, man. Right? That's what David told Samuel, man. Right? He told him, look, hey, I'm about to go to the next place, right? To the chamber of soul, right? And this is what he said, man. 1 Kings 2, and I'll start from verse number 1. It says, now the days of David drew nigh, he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, right, I go the way of all the earth, and when you die, you go to hell. Right? If anything, you're at peace when you die. Right? You're at peace. And this you don't have to wake up and pay bills, all this madness. But when you die, you don't go to hell. That's some Christianity, Roman, Greco standard. But you go to the chamber of souls, man. Right? And you know, Revelation 6, 2nd Ezra, I believe 4, right? 5, 6, I believe, or 2nd Ezra 4, and I believe 5. It tells you about the chamber of souls. Revelation 6 tells you that the spirits, they're crying out under the altar, man, right? We're at 1 Kings 2 and verse 2, and it says, I go the way of all the earth, be shown for, and show thyself a man. It says verse 3, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whatsoever thou turnest thyself. So, you know, for you to prosper as a young man, right, or even a daughter of Zion, man, you got to take heed to the words of your father, man. Right, your father was obviously going to teach you in righteousness. He's not going to raise you, you know, according to the world. He's going to raise you. He's not going to let you have the spirit of error, right? Because the spirit of error would be to be easily beguiled by something like Father's Day. You don't know what it means. You don't know the origins of it, the background. You just say, okay, let me go and do it. But you don't know about Purim. You don't know about Day of Nicanor. You don't know about Day of Simon, right? Let alone Pentecost, Passover, Tabernacles, trumpets, the new moons, the Sabbath day. You don't even know about these things because your father would, a righteous father, it would be better for him to teach his children about the laws of the Most High than to teach his children about damn Father's Day, man. Right? And that being said, I even maybe you don't have a father. You might not be alive. You might have father figures that are right. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4 and verse 10. It says, "Be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of an husband unto their mother." Because don't worry about that. I say, the husband's dead. Hey, right, right. So shall thou be as son of the Most High, and he shall love thee more than thy mother doeth. Yeah. So being a father unto the fatherless, right? People that have their fathers, hey, that's what, and in the truth, that's what you kind of get, man. You kind of get elders, and that's why it's double honors to these elders because they've taken hard-earned time, families, and moved places, right? Just to build up congregations, the truth, to spread the word, right? To really be a father unto the fatherless, man, right? That's what charity, really is, man, right? Visiting the poor and the sick, right? So this is First Timothy. It's like a First Timothy, chapter 3, and I'll start from verse. Let's see, right? Because Paul had that spirit, man, of being a father unto the fatherless, man. Had many sons in the faith, so he had men that he had built up and raised up in the truth, man. All right. Might not be in this one. Right. Let me see. Alright, it might not come up. See that? But let's see if I can get it. Alright. Because that's what you wanna have essentially, man. Right? See that? Let's see if I can find that's gonna come time. I need the phrase though. I mean, being, man, is that in these verses, First Timothy 1 and 2, 2 Timothy 1 and 2 again, right? First Corinthians 4 and 17, right? Hey, Paul had many of these people, right? Sons that, not literal sons, came from the same seed, but young men he'd raised up, taught the word, and they went and taught the people, man. And that spirit, you should be having, man. You shouldn't have a damn pagan, idolatry. And I'm just kind of touching on, because we touched on quite a few precepts, but I'll kind of clear off these last sources, man, and then you can finish it. Okay? All right. So it says Father's Day, not just a modern opportunity for another greetings card. It says a festival from pagan times. Father's Day has pagan roots going back thousands of years. It's closely related to the worship of the sun gods. See that? During the original Father's Day celebration, goats would be sacrificed and meat in quantities that were exceptional when compared with the everyday diet of the community. This made Father's Day a special event. Right, I've got two precepts and I'll pass it and you can close up. Okay. It says Father's Day is also closely related to the summer solstice. We touched on this. So the summer solstice is completely pagan. The word solstice comes from the Latin word solstice, which means sun stands still. The summer solstice is, of course, the longest day of the year. Pagan celebrated by sacrificing to the sun gods think the Roman god Jupiter or the Greek god Zeus, we were still fascinated by these myths and legends, right? Leonard Cohen, and that's probably a damn Amalekite, writes in his song First We Take Manhattan, right? So I don't know what this, but see that I'm guided by the signal, whatever. I don't know what the hell this has anything to do with, right? Um, in a Roman festival, in the Roman world, festivities in honor of the other gods also took place at the summer solstice. So there's a link. We've established that, right? There's a link between the summer solstice and Father's Day being celebrated on the same day. An example: the festival in honor of the goddess Juno, right? Juno is the wife of Jupiter, and the month June is her name, right? So they're just going off, right? Right. So look, see that it says these people are off. It says cook some meat and have a few drinks, then you are reliving the pagan dream, my friend. Bonfires are symbolic. The word bonfire comes from bones fire, that refers to the ashes and bones left over from an animal, perhaps human sacrifices, some of which would have taken place in honor of Father's Day. See that? So, right? So they're making some damn tracks about some Father's Day stuff, man. Right? So, let me see this. Yeah, see that? So Deus it says Father Daylight. See that? Is a reconstructed name of the daylight sky god in Proto-Indo-European mythology. Deus was conceived as a divine personification of the bright sky of the day and the seat of the gods. Right? So it's just demonology here. It says it'd be good to see like the worship, how they would worship, But again, right? Sun god, right? Or the sun god in particular. So these certain things, man, these deities that they would they would worship these things, man. Right? They would worship these things, right? These deities, man. Right? The split, see there? The relationship between Sky Father. So yeah, they just got off, man. Right? But not a lot on there, This is a pagan origin of Mother's Day and Father's Day. Right? Father's Day also had its origin in the ancient past. The sun was considered to have masculine energy. So was the sun, the father of the universe. Father's Day was and is celebrated close to the summer solstice. The Catholic, and we don't want nothing to do with the Catholics. The Catholic Church, which remember the Pope, right? He sits on that seat, and there's that demon that's like leaping. And they say it looks like a snake. That whole setup there in that little weird thing they got going over there, man. It looks mad like madness. So the Catholic Church calls it St. John's Day. Today in the past, Druids celebrate the solstice at Stonehenge in England. Wicca calls the summer solstice Litha. Bonfires are lit on Litha to six. That's why you want to be careful. You damn fireworks, man. And Israel, there's no account of Israel, doing fireworks. Oh yeah, the firework night. They weren't doing firework night. Right? Have some yarn, man. Right? Or some music. Right? Don't default yourself not the good. It said, so the gods are the fathers. The fathers, they are sky fathers. Odin, Norse. The Dagda, the Celtic religion, and then the sky father Anu. Look at this, and they got look at these madnesses. The damn invocation. You see that? Right? Damn invocations and whatnot. Like people do this, right? And then turn into demons. Right? What else we got? Right? Another one. Father's Day was known by the great sky god. Um, Celebrating Father's Day gives honors to the pagan sky gods, Jupiter, Zeus or Uranus, and the summer solstice. Part of the week celebration leading up to the summer solstice, the day was given over to celebrating the vision of the sky father for his human children with his rich gifts, sun and rain. And it says gift sacrificial goats and sheep, recognized by the festival ribbons bound about their necks, supplemented with prayers, continued guidance in the human journey towards spiritual adulthood. You see that? So animals were sacrificed and they were given the tithes. We read that. So just like men, they would get tithes for the damn, you know, you know, for damn Father's Day. Yeah, that. You know, and I didn't get it when I first read it, but now it's starting to make sense. You know, um, certain the ties that will get resemble that same thing. You know, like them sheep being brought down to slaughter, right? And even one more, and then I'll give my two pieces, and then you can close up. It says the pagan and Roman roots. So this is on Salami, right? Shout out to the brother he makes, the Hebrew, certain Hebrew books. You know, it says the pagan Roman roots of father worship. Although the modern form of Father's Day may have American origins, the practice of honoring fathers and male ancestors dates back to pagan cultures, particularly in Rome and Babylon. In ancient Rome, pater familias, the male head of the household, was revered not only as the family leader but also as a semi-divine authority. Roman hold festivals and rites and see that and rituals to honor male ancestors. That's that I read it. Pagan, I believe it is. Often involving offerings, feasts, and prayers to family spirits. Yes, you get enough. In Babylon, records from around 4,000 years ago show that sons would write special messages to their fathers, praising them, often linked to the worship of male deities like Marduk, who was seen as a father god. You see that? So the spirit behind, oh yeah, I'm just writing a letter to my dad because it's Father's Day. Hey, these times invoking some demons, man. Right? It says these practices were involved in ancestor worship in cultures where deceased male ancestors were venerated and consulted through ritual and mediumship. So while the modern fathers they may not involve overt idol worship, the concept is not rooted in scripture, and its early cultural parallels point directly to paganism and human exaltation. You see that? So, you know, and I'll get to research. So this is the book of First um, Corinthians, chapter 6, right? First Corinthians 6 and verse 9. It says, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters." Right? So, nor idolaters. So, idolatry, you're not going to make it. If you're in idolatry, you're doing a Father's Day. You're not even keeping a Sabbath day, but you're doing Father's Day, you're not going to make it. You know? Right? And I'll get one more. Right? It's the book of Revelation, chapter 18. And I'll read verse 4. It says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague." So, hey man, you gotta come out of this. You know, just got into the truth, the understanding, watching the breakdown. You gotta come out of these Mother's Day, Father's Day spirits, man. These are not of the Most High. They're not nothing to do with the scriptures. Like the brother said, and to the parallel and the roots go back to paganism. Or can't you got it?
Yeah, can't. And everything the brother's bringing out is going into all paganism. And the last bit that you said is that you went up brought up as well. It said about um, human exhortation or exalting them, human exaltation or something like that, meaning you're exalting yourself. We need to be humbling ourselves. The greater thou art, the more humble we are. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We shouldn't be putting anyone on a pedestal, especially not your family members, like not saying it's not, right to like, look, honor your father, your mother, look after your children, but to actually have a day of like, because this is the thing, the spirit behind it is very deep, because the fact of the matter is when these days come about, people actually will ring or text their father and say happy Father's Day.
Mhm.
That whole spirit is it goes back to even birthdays, and that's the same exact spirit that it's in. And one thing you should have noticed by now when it comes to all of these things, and even with us when we keep our feast days, what is the main thing that happens on a feast day? We have a feast, and they do that the same on the left hand side. They will have these days, and in the midst there's a meal that they all get diving into, and that's and we can see that as well in the scriptures. So I'll get a couple. So I'll get Genesis chapter 40 and verse 20. Genesis 40 and verse 20, and it reads, "And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and the chief baker among his servants." So he had a feast on his birthday. He actually made a feast. So that was again that ritual, that idolatry in the background that everyone had to participate in, and if they didn't, then obviously you'd be going against the king's commandments, really. And there's another one in Mark 6 and 21, just to show you that all these, and that was the Pharaoh in Egypt. Now this is Herod. Now this is a Roman now. So is it Mark 6:21, and it reads, "And when the convenient day was come, that Herod on his birthday made a supper to his lords, high captains, and chief estates of Galilee." So he made a feast as well. So every day that these lot are making, there's a feast behind it, and that is what's really what it's like. It's like a covenant, really. When you eat
Mm.
of that sacrifice, you're actually taking part in that covenant of whatever spirit that is in. That's why
Yeah.
when we gather together, we have a feast day, we have food and drink, we're coming in the name of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. But then when you're doing it in the world, like on these days like Mother's Day, Father's Day, you're actually participating in idolatry, So yeah, that's it really on that.
So
It's the
yeah.
same spirit as birthdays, really. Go on, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's just to show what the brother's talking about. I know I did say I have one precept, but
Yeah, go on, you go
hey,
ahead, you go ahead.
you're saying something, and it's like that's literally what the Bible says, man. It's not. It's more than just oh yeah, it's Father's Day. You're not going to eat food. Hey, we've broken it down and we've shown all of what it's going into. Right? When you read First Corinthians 10, and I'll start from verse number 18, it says, "Behold, Israel after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar." So what when you eat the damn altar of, I don't know, some demon, you eat halal, right? You're essentially being joined onto that, you know. You're being joined onto that that altar, because they had their altar set up too. But I'm gonna jump to verse 21, right, and then we can close up. It says, verse 21. It says, "Ye cannot drink of the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils." Man. So straight up and down, man, like that tells you, man, like these days, right? They are, right, madness. These days, they're not built, you know, for. They're against the Most High. You know, they're not for us to be keeping. You know, in the last days, man, we shouldn't be in the damn pagan holidays, man. We got to keep the feast days, man. Right? You know, so, hey, we praise to the Most High. Anything close out with? Or?
Yeah, no, I've got one quick precept. So Matthew chapter 6 and verse 24, it says, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon." So you've got to make that choice, like it says in Joshua 24. It's like you've got to pick one side. There's no in between. You're either keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, or you're gonna go off in the world and dabble with all sorts of madness, and you're gonna have to account for that in the last days.
Right. Right. All praise to the Most High. How about you, man? No way. As you now know, right? Father's Day is pagan, completely contrary to the Bible, completely against the laws, the statutes, and the ordinances that the Most High set for the children of Israel to keep. So, all praise to the Most High. With that, we say, Come Allah, we say, Shalom.
Shalom.